How you boys and girls doing today? Come on now, it's a Friday, it's almost the end of school. How y'all doing today? All right, that's better. She said, well. We really appreciate y'all taking time out of your busy days, parents, other relatives, and supporters to come out here today and take part in the DARE graduation ceremony that they're getting ready to go through everything they've achieved the last 10 weeks. I'll tell you a little bit more about DARE here in a few minutes. We're going to start off with the pledge, and I want to introduce a couple of folks to you. I need some help on the pledge. When I call your name, if you'll come up here and join me, we'll just stand right over here and we'll face the American flag. Celeste Leon, Jonathan Bernard, Devin Walker, Alexandria Jett, and Morgan Sheldon. If y'all could all come up. And if everyone else would please rise, we'll let these young people lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Good job. Thank you. We have it takes a lot of teamwork to get through the DARE curriculum all 10 weeks. A lot of people give of their time and other things, especially the 5th grade teachers, for letting an officer come in for an hour a week for 10 weeks, taking up part of their time. And I'll let Officer Dry talk about that here more in a minute. But this is our 7th, and actually this is our last DARE graduation for this week. But we've done 7 in a week. That takes a lot of teamwork. We've got quite a few of our staff here today. Officer Jay Radzinski's here with us. Officer Stan Meeks, Officer Ava Radley's here on this side, and then we've got one of our bosses with us today, Major Clyde Atkinson. Thank you for coming. And then y'all know this other fellow sitting over here? Officer Bill Dry. He is assigned to Cason Lane, has been for a little while now, for several years, and I'll let him talk more directly to y'all. Just to let, if you haven't ever had a child go through DARE, or if you don't really know what it's about, just to give you a brief background, it started in '83 out on the West Coast, and we started teaching it here in Murfreesboro in 1992. So it's been in the school system a long time. We teach in all 12 city schools and even a couple of the private schools in Murfreesboro. Throughout the 10 weeks, your child gets a DARE planner, and they fill out, there's a lot of work in this planner they have to fill out, whether it's solo work or they work in pairs or they learn to work in teams and do team building exercises, games, everything. It all encourages learning though. And they move throughout a series of lessons. They talk about things like peer pressure, bullying, being a good person in their community, hanging out with a good crowd, how to be an effective listener, how to communicate better. It just goes on, and they'll be able to bring home these planners to you guys if they haven't already, and you'll be able to see exactly what they did week to week. And it's taken a lot to get to sit where they are today. Along about week 8, usually, they have to write a DARE essay. And then in that essay, they have to be very specific about how they feel about the DARE program, what they've learned themselves, and then more importantly, how they're going to apply it to their own lives to be able to say no to a drug or a violence offer. It's very unfortunate that in today's world, today's society, that our kids are probably going to be faced with a drug offer a lot earlier than we would like to think. And so we just want to equip them with the tools to be able to say no confidently. And with what they get from you guys at home, what they get from their DARE officer, from their teacher, from their pastor, whoever, the positive people in their lives, is just another tool they can put in their toolbox to be able to confidently say no to a drug offer or offer of violence, things like that. Speaking of the essays, we'll also be giving out some awards today that are over here on this table. We're going to do an essay award, which is first, second, and third place. The DARE officer reads every one of these guys' essays, and then they have to try to rank the top 3 in every single class. And then the first place essay gets to come up here today and read it for everybody here. So this is usually the one award where most kids are like, hey, I'm cool with second place. They just get to get their award and go sit back down. But no, it's really good, and it's fun to listen to them, how much they've learned, and they put a lot of work into these essays. And then we also give out a DARE Boy and a DARE Girl award. What that is each student receives a ballot, and the DARE officer will tell the students, hey, we want you to look closely at each other, examine each other, and try to identify one boy and one girl in your class that is already leading by good example, already making good decisions, already making wise choices. So young men and women in here today, if you receive the DARE Boy or DARE Girl award today, take some pride in that, because that means your peers, your classmates, your friends are already looking up to you to lead by a good example, and you must already be doing that because that's why they've selected you. So we look forward to giving that out too. Before we get any further, I'd like to invite Ms. Siobhan Davis-Lewis to come up and say a few words to y'all. Y'all make her feel welcome. Thank you, ma'am.
I want to thank the Murfreesboro City Police for being such great partners with Murfreesboro City Schools. Officer Dry is a great asset here, and we truly appreciate him. Boys and girls, a round of applause for Officer Dry. Parents, thank you for being here, for supporting your children and setting a good example. And teachers, thank you. As Officer Walker said, it's hard to give up even a few minutes in today's school day with all of the standards and curriculum that must be taught. So thank you for being so willing to allow Officer Dry to be in your room for that 10, 11-week period to make such a difference in your lives. I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being a good example, for being good boys and girls. You make me proud. I can't wait to hear the winning essay and to hear more, to hear about all of the winners and hear more about the DARE program. Welcome to Cason Lane, and thank you for being here today. And now I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. Mr. LaLance had a last-minute emergency. He couldn't be here. However, we are honored and privileged to have Mr. Joel Young here. He was born and raised in Murfreesboro. He's a local pastor, and he has a son that attends Murfreesboro City Schools at Reeves Rogers Elementary. And he is the pastor of our very own Tiffany Streevel.
Everybody doing okay this morning? All right. I'd rather be here in math class. Here? That's what I thought. Exactly. Well, it's an honor to be here to speak to the DARE program this afternoon. One of the things that impresses me about the DARE program is the longevity of it. The fact that it's been around since the 1980s, and through that time has been able to give a lot of valuable information to warn kids of the dangers of drug abuse and what it can do in their life. But that really brings me to another point. With all the education that we have, with all the knowledge that we have about what drugs will do to your life, why is drugs even still an issue in 2017? To me, drugs is a common sense problem. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out drugs will ruin your life. I look at my life. Statistically, I fell into all the categories of someone that should fall into a drug abuse or a drug life. I grew up in a house we were poor. Grew up in government housing most of my life. I remember as a kid, we was on free lunch, and all the other kids had some of the nicer things, and all the Jordans were coming out when I was a kid, and I wanted them. My mama said, "Son, you're crazy, $100 for a pair of shoes." We weren't getting that. I remember I didn't have a daddy in my home. That's another statistic that they say will kind of lead to that. Didn't know who my father was. Never had an opportunity to meet him. Also, I think about growing up around drugs. Ever since I was a young kid, drugs were always in and around people that I knew in my family. Even as a high school senior, I remember, a freshman in high school, a family member gave me a bag of dope and said, "Go sell this for $15 and you can keep 10. And I remember that always being something that I was in and around. but what makes the difference in where we end up in life? Any of y'all heard of a country singer by the name of George Jones? Anybody? Know some of the grandparents out there? Yeah. He sung a song one time in 1999 called Choices. Choices. Living and dying by the choices you make. That was one of the lines in it. And every person in this room, you have a gift called a choice. Regardless of where you fall in any kind of statistic, regardless of what color you are, regardless of what kind of income or home or nationality you have a choice in the matter. You have a choice because right now you have all this information. I base my life on three things as I make decisions. Number one, education. Number two, observation. And number three, application. And the education about drugs, it's very easy. It'll ruin your life. It'll ruin you physically. It'll ruin you morally. It'll ruin you spiritually. You can ask these officers, you go to the jails, the vast majority of every person there goes back to some kind of drug or alcohol abuse. And they're in prison because of that. So we have the education of what it does to us physically. You have the observation. You can look around. As a child, one of the biggest influences in my life not to do drugs was to see how it affected those around me. I remember as a kid, younger than y'all, going to visit some of my family members that were locked up in jail because of drugs. I remember seeing how people that I used to idolize that played sports as they got older and got messed up in drugs and what it did to them. So I had the observation and I had the education, but now the application. Because we were all going to face that choice of one day somebody's going to present you with, as the officer said a moment ago, it's happening younger and younger all the time. Somebody's going to give you the opportunity to smoke dope or to do this or to do that or to drink this or to drink that. And that's where you have to have the right train of mind to know what you've seen, to know what you've been taught, and to apply that in your life to realize that's not what you want. I'm going to give you a quick story about two guys I played ball with. Both of them grew up in the same county, obviously, played for the same team, went to the same school, had many of the same friends. Player B, just without giving any names, Player B was a year older than Player A. Player A was the more athletic of the two. He was more the talented of the two. But Player B was a hard worker, stayed at it. They're both going to the same position, same school, same everything. Player A, I said, more talented, probably better, more skills, got to selling dope and doing dope, and everybody in the locker room knew what was going on. Well, it didn't take long. That flushed itself out. Well, Player A, who had the better ability but the wrong choices in life, ended up, and now that we've been out of high school several years now, in and out of jail, run into them, see them, find them on the police app, see them in and out of jail. Why? Because he made some bad decisions. Player B stayed with it, kept working hard, got a scholarship to a Division II school, probably a school most of y'all never heard of. Same kids, same two kids, same county, same friends, same general raising. This Player B went on to graduate, had a financial degree, right now is doing very, very well for himself. The other is still in that same poverty-stricken neighborhood that he was in when he was a kid. Why? All because, listen, two kids, two opportunities, and one made the right choice and one made the wrong choice. And you're going to be faced one day with the same choice. And my prayer for you and my hope for you, and I know what this DARE program is invested, you got 100 hours. No, 10 hours. So you got 10 one-hour classes. You got 10 hours of training and education. Our hope is to put that in you so when you are faced with that choice in your life, that you'll make the right choice. Remember, everybody in here has that. You were born with that. Don't let nobody dictate how you end your life or where your life ends up. You control that with the choices you make. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Young. Well, guys, here it is, your graduation. And given my voice, I'm not going to say a whole lot. I know you're really disappointed, okay? Try to hide that. But I'm really proud of you guys. Y'all worked hard, and you've earned this, okay? So we'll start with Ms. Batt's class. Just a reminder, parents, if you would hold your applause until the whole class has been read, that way you can hear your kid's name being read, okay?
Greetings. Ms. Higgerson and I are going to present these together because we run our two classes as one for the HB bunch, and some of them didn't realize who their homeroom teacher was because of that. So we didn't want to slight them, so we wanted to do both of us together. And we want to just tell you, thank you so much, Officer Drive, for all of the wonderful things that you have done for our children and the lessons that you've taught them. James Bradshaw.
Jamani Brown.
Andrew Foote.
Devin Graham.
Trent Henderson.
Kaylin Herman.
Angela James. Machai Kanjanabout.
Celeste Leon.
Josh Norfleet.
James Robinson.
Christopher Rogers.
Noah Rogers.
Josiah Shivers. Jetly Villasuk. Jacob Fonsecchio.
Kamira Ward.
Caden Wilkerson.
That's a little gift from you to get extra sticker.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
much. I
Appreciate
appreciate you.
All right, Miss Batt's class, Dare Boy, Noah Rogers. And Dare Girl, Kamira Ward. Third place essay from Miss Batt's class, Kamira Ward. Second place, Jacob Fonsecchio. And first place, Andy Foote. I typed it out for you guys.
I learned a lot of valuable things in DARE. I learned about drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and more. First, I learned that drugs are bad because they can make you lose your mind and do bad things. They can also make you have a bad addiction and can't stop. They're really bad because they can make you lose your life and get hurt. Next, we learned about alcohol and what it can do. Alcohol can cause some people to drink and drive and get into bad wrecks or get arrested. It can cause family problems too. It can cause health problems and liver damage. It can also make you lose your job if you get caught drunk. Tobacco is also very unhealthy. Tobacco can cause stinky breath, and it can also damage your lungs and cause cancer. It is also very expensive and can cost smokers $5 to $15 a day. Finally, we learned about the importance of communication. It means when something is bothering you, ask an adult. Don't hold it in. You need to communicate with someone about it. Before you say anything, to think about it first. I am really glad I got to take the DARE class. I learned a lot of valuable information from Officer Dry. Things that will make things that will lead me to a happy and healthy life. I feel better prepared to deal with peer pressure.
Okay, Miss Kaylor's class.
It's just me presenting. My team doesn't like me as much as the Batt Dickerson. First up, Mohammed Alderbag. John-Luc Bernard. Izzy Burka. Katie Burns. Hayden Fielder. Talia Gray. Will Grimes. Kimberly Jimenez Perez. Marciana Johnson. Tek Kamsongpu. Andrew Koo. Ariana Lurch. Ella Moore. Reagan Nix. Trent Northcutt. Christina Rashbaums. Anthony Reynolds. Nathan Vasquez. Chris Watkins. Karma Wheeler. Lily Wolfer.
Our dare boy from Miss Kaylor's class, Will Grimes. And dare girl, Kimberly Jimenez Perez. Third place essay, Anthony Reynolds. Second place, Tech. And first place essay from Miss Kaylor's class, Isabella Burka. I'm sorry, Izzy. I typed it for you. It's right there. You can do it.
In DARE, we learned about all the bad things that tobacco does to your health, like causes wrinkles, causes lung cancer, yellows your teeth, and causes you to lose your teeth. By how unhealthy it already is, I wouldn't doubt if it causes more unhealthy things. DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. So why do people not listen to this and stop doing all these unhealthy things? Like when people drink too much alcohol. Don't they know that Don't they know all the bad things that can do? Like when you drink and drive, they can get themselves hurt or someone else hurt. Drinking too much alcohol can also do unhealthy things to your body. Sadly, a lot of people have experienced those things. We also learned about resistance strategies like changing the subject. Walking away and saying no while giving a reason are all very good resistance strategies. Some other things we learned in DARE are how to tell signs of stress, evaluating your decision, communication styles, the 5 W's of reporting bullying, and lots of other stuff. We learned so much in DARE this year, and I hope that everyone else that does DARE has fun too.
Miss Fielder's class.
All right, Hannah Bailey. Sebrin Colson. Nick Duell. Sydney French. Allison Geis. Kaylee Green. Gabe Holler. Aiden Hill. Tyshawn Jackson. Jarrell Jackson. Johnson, sorry. I don't know why I do that. Oops. Samantha Johnson. Sarah Jones. J.R. Manning. Brennan Mayhew. Jade McGee. Brady Moore. Dhruv Patel. Mystery Rowe. Alexis Trauber. Devin Walker. Nautica Williams. Matthew Worley. Ethan Zamora.
Dare boy from Miss Fielder's class, Tyshawn Jackson. Dare girl, Samantha Johnson. Third place essay winner, Sydney French. Second place, Dhruv Patel. And our first place essay winner from Miss Fielder's class, Mystery Row.
As students reached the 5th grade, they entered the world of DARE. Once a week, we were educated about drug abuse resistance education, or DARE. The DARE class has helped me a lot, and I'm sure it will help me in the future. I would like to share the 3 reasons that I like the most. These 3 lessons are very helpful. I also think I will need to remember these lessons in the future. The first lesson that I liked was communicating. When I learned this lesson, I learned how to communicate confidently. This has helped so I'm not demanding or unsure. The second lesson that I liked was resistance strategies. I liked this lesson because I have already used the strategies and I know I will use them in the future. These strategies are used for saying no to doing drugs, alcohol, and smoking. The third lesson I liked was bullying. In this lesson, I learned how to report bullying and how to stop it. This will help me in the future if we find a bully and so we don't become a bully. Overall, the DARE class has taught me to make good choices. This class has impacted my life, and I will always remember what my officer has taught me.
Ms. Hickerson's class.
Any kid level. Taylor Alsop.
Sarah Baumbarger.
Stefan Balevsky.
Bodie Dillon.
Daniel Durham.
Rion Griffin.
Alex Jett.
Devin Johnson.
Victoria Johnson.
Lillian Jones.
Jamie Lynn Lurch.
Landon McClanahan.
Zachary Modrell.
Zachary Mullins.
Max Robinson.
Jason Senna.
Kelsey Seiler.
Alishka Torres.
Olivia Williams.
Abigail Willis. Leo Wiskabon.
It's the hard one.
DARE boy from Ms. Hickerson's class, Rion Griffin. DARE girl, Taylor Alsop. Third place essay winner, Devin Johnson. Second place, Kelsey Seiler. And our first place essay winner from Ms. Hickerson's class, Sarah Baumbarger.
I learned a lot in DARE. It was fun and educational. I learned things like not to do drugs, making responsible choices, responding to peer pressure, and communication. In this essay, I will show you the best parts of DARE. Enjoy. The first lesson was all about getting to know the DARE rules and decision-making process. It introduced me to DARE. I also learned a lot. Lesson 2 was also really fun. I learned facts about tobacco use and alcohol use. Did you know that tobacco has Tobacco use and alcohol use. Did you know that tobacco has more than 200 bad chemicals? Lesson 3 told me about safe and responsible choices. It taught me to ask myself, what are the good consequences and what are the bad? I can't tell you about all the lessons, but I will talk about the lessons that helped me the most. Lessons 6 and 7. I don't communicate really good, but I will use the things I learned to be better at communicating in the future. That is what DARE is. DARE helps kids to be better in the future. DARE is really helpful for kids like me, and I hope others use these lessons to better their future and the people around them. Thank you.
She's a little shy. Okay, and last but not least, Mr. Wood's class.
That was the dare walk. Obviously, I'm not Mr. Woods. Okay, Tristan Blake. Adam Coulter. Emily Edwards. Taquan Jennings. Preston Kropczynski. Dante Martin. Annalie McPherson. Casey Moman. Ryan Patterson. Shakila Patterson. Ryan Prettyman. Jeremiah Ragland. Jorge Rodriguez. Bailey Rowland. Topanga Sism. Morgan Sheldon. Alex Sherrill. Miles S. Mackenzie Ward. Nathan Weinrock. Jamie White. Corey Wood. Angelina York.
our dare boy from Mr. Wood's class, Corey Wood. And our dare girl, Casey Moman. Our third place essay winner, Topanga Sism. Second place, Mackenzie Ward. And the first place essay winner from Mr. Wood's class, Miles.
Dare was a great experience because it taught me right from the wrong. It taught me how to communicate confidently, how to make safe and responsible choices, and many more things. The Dare decision-making model helped me make the right thing and good decisions while deciding what to do. In Lesson 2, we learned about alcohol and tobacco and what they cause, like how there are more than 200 known harmful chemicals in cigarette smoke. And most teens don't drink alcohol. Those were some facts about alcohol and tobacco that I learned in Lesson 2. Dare was helpful in many ways, including how to handle different situations and many other things. Dare will help me in the future in many different ways. Dare was a great experience overall.
And at this point, I'm turning back over to Sergeant Walker.
Let's give all of our DARE graduates one more big round of applause. Good job, boys and girls.